guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to do something a bit different that I haven't done. I don't know if I've done it at all actually, but I'm doing a book haul. That is just because I'm super into books at the moment. I went through a stage of reading a lot of books, then I got my Kindle, so I read a lot of Kindle books, but I've gotten back into actual paper books. So yeah, I have a good selection here, which is combined of raiding my mum's bookshelf, raiding some local second-hand bookshops, and also I've been gifted some books as well. So I wanted to show you my kind of big haul at the moment, what's on my reading list at the moment, and yeah, let's just get stuck in. If you're not into books, then please click off. But yeah, please let me know in the comment box below if you have read any of these and which ones you would recommend. First up, I'm going to talk about the books that I raided from my parents. They've got a really big book selection at home, and yeah, whenever I go over, I kind of like to look if there's anything that I'm interested in. And I randomly thought I'd go for Harry Potter. Fun fact, I've actually only ever read, I think it's 4, 5 and 6. And I've never started right from the beginning, which I know is very bad, but I've been really like kind of craving recently trying to actually get stuck in and read all of the series. So yeah, I picked this up from my mum, and I'm gonna kind of read this maybe winter time when I feel like I can get cozy. Next up, I went for Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. I have never ever read this, and I have always wanted to read it. And yeah, I found it in my mum and dad's stash. I think my mum read it, and yeah, she's always kept it. I've read bits of this already just from kind of having it since I've had it the other day, and I just found it really funny. So I think it's kind of a classic that maybe needs to be read, and I'm excited to kind of get stuck into that at some point. And I quite like a non-fiction book, so yeah, cannot wait to give that a go. Next up is The Lovely Bones, and I have never read this before. I believe it's been made into a film, and I popped up a few books on my Instagram not that long ago. If you're not following me, go follow. And a lot of people messaged me and said you have to read The Lovely Bones, it is such a great book. So I'm super excited to read this. It's basically about a girl that gets murdered, and I believe it is from her perspective. So bit of an interesting one, but yeah, everyone says it's very, very good, so I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that as well. Next up are 3 books that I have bought recently, either from Amazon second-hand store or actually from a charity shop. So the first one is by Holly Bourne, How Do You Like Me Now? And I think I saw this first on Anna Edits, either Instagram or something, and it is about a woman called Tori, and she has just turned 30, so it's all about kind of the love and trials of being 30, and being 27 I feel like I'm kind of entering into that stage of my life, and I'm quite interested to kind of read this, and I've heard it's really, really good, and I believe it's her debut novel. So yeah, again, looking forward to getting stuck into that. Next up are 2 books that I got in a charity shop, and these were both 50p each, which were an ultimate bargain, and I'm definitely going to go back to this charity shop because yeah, just brilliant. Always like go and have a look in your local second-hand bookshops or charity shops, and yeah, that last one that I bought was from Amazon in the second-hand store, so always worth having a look at any second-hand options. And it is Educated by Tara Westover. I believe this is actually a true life story, and again I think I found about this book on the Anna Edit, and quite a few other people had recommended it, and it's meant to be very good. I think it's about how she grew up in a bit of a strange kind of family environment, and she had to really push to kind of educate herself, and yeah, all of that stuff. But apparently it's meant to be very moving and interesting, so yeah, that is next on the list. Next book that we bought in a charity shop was The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out of the Window and Disappeared by Jonas Jonasson, and I think I again found this on Instagram, and the sound of it is kind of like a comedy. You'll see that Dan has actually started reading this because I thought that it was actually quite up his street. And yeah, I believe it's just about a 100-year-old man that kind of climbs out of his window, has a bit of a mysterious adventure in the night time, and apparently it's really, really funny, and it's like a massive bestseller. Ever since we've got this, we have seen this everywhere in lots of charity shops, second-hand shops, and yeah, I think it's sold lots. If you go on Amazon, there are thousands of reviews, so yeah, he's been really enjoying it so far. Okay, the next 6 books I'm going to talk about were actually all gifted, some by Penguin and some by Bloomsbury Publishing. So yeah, just to kind of disclaim that now. The first up is something that I have been wanting to read for a very long time, and it's Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And if you've not been on Instagram, then you wouldn't have seen this, but I have seen this everywhere. So I was super keen to get to read this, and yeah, I started actually reading this. This was next on my list, so I'm about halfway through. I've really been enjoying the writing style. It's a non-fiction about Dolly. She's, I think, a few years older than me, so in her like 30s. It's just her story of lots of love and kind of friendships and everything in between. And yeah, some parts of it I find a little bit unrelatable. There's a lot of drugs, alcohol and that kind of thing, but then some of it I find relatable, like she talks about MSN and friendships and how they can change when you grow up. And yeah, there's kind of bits that I've enjoyed and bits I haven't, so I'm kind of looking forward to keeping going and seeing how it goes. The next 2 books are actually books that aren't out yet. They are coming out early next year, so I haven't yet read these, but they sound very interesting. So the first is by Rosamund Lupton, and it's 3 Hours, and someone that I know actually said that Rosamund Lupton has written some really good books, so I'm excited to get into this. Basically, something happens within a 3-hour time period. A school is under siege in quite a small town, and I think it's just about what happens, whether that's to the children, to the people outside the school. And yeah, it sounds very interesting, and it's quite a short book, I think, although the writing is quite small. But yeah, this doesn't come out until January 2020, so I'll keep you posted about this. Come and follow me on Instagram if you are keen to kind of find out about it. The next book I love the cover of, but this is actually a proof copy, so again, this doesn't come out until early next year. It's called Keeper by Jessica Moore, and I think this is again a bit of a mystery. By the sounds of it, a girl's body is pulled from the waters and the police just decide that it is a suicide, but some others believe that it's more than that. So again, a kind of crime thriller, and I'm very into kind of crime and thrillers, so again, this one sounds really interesting, and again, I will tell you what I think of it. The next book is Let's Hope for the Best by Carolina Settle-Wall, and I believe this is a Swedish book. The reason I kind of picked this out was, I don't know, it actually sounds very sad and a little bit tragic, and I actually do struggle with the idea of death and the things that surround that, but for some reason I read books about it, and this is about a lady that says goodnight to her husband and then in the morning he is dead. And I think it's a little bit about kind of love and loss and everything in between that, and it does sound really sad, but I'm really keen to read this because it does sound really interesting. And yeah, it's all about kind of her being brave, and it's about emotion, and yeah, I think I'm going to find this interesting, yet potentially quite emotional. This is out, and yeah, I will leave everything linked below so that you can go and kind of have a read about them yourself. Okay, the next book is by Kate Weinberg, and it is called The Truants. Do you know what? I actually really liked the cover of this, which maybe is what drew me in. This is only now just available, so again I will link it below. But again, this is kind of a bit of a crime, and it's about a girl called, what's her name? Jess Walker, and I think she basically finds herself involved in a bit of a bad bunch of people. Something happens and she gets kind of swept up in it and almost has to become the detective. I think it's kind of inspired by Agatha Christie, which I've never read personally, but yeah, again, another kind of crime thrillery thing to get my head into. Next is the last one actually, and this is probably going to be next on my reading list after I have finished Dolly Alderton, and this is 3 Women by Lisa Taddeo. And I think this has become pretty popular recently. I just realised that Dolly Alderton actually has a quote on the front. Again, I think this came out last month, so I'll leave a link so you can kind of hear about it. But this is actually, again, non-fiction. It's about 3 ordinary women in America, and this was actually written over an 8-year period. So the author, Lisa, kind of followed these women, and it's, again, yeah, all about their lives and what's kind of happened to them. And I love, like, documentaries, so this kind of really yeah, appealed to me, and I'm really excited to kind of hear about the stories and see where that's at. But I've heard very good things about this, so yeah, let me know if you have read this. Thank you so much for watching that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, and yeah, please let's start up a conversation about books in the comments, because I'd love to have a chat. Let me know if you've read any of those, if you want to read any of them, and yeah, what you're reading right now. That'd be really, really good. And I will speak to you soon.